Call this meeting to order.
Oh, that's his 23.
Regular board meeting, August 7th, 2023. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, you can. Mr. Sterling?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. McKnight?
Present.
Mrs. Carlson? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Hastings?
Here.
Mrs. Meeks? Here.
Chris Arduino, recording secretary.
Terrell Yarbrough, Superintendent.
Shelley Wigner, Human Resources.
Michelle Earp, curriculum and instruction.
Josh Duran, Business and Operations.
All right. Get everybody to stand. Would you like to read us off?
Yes, sir. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have some changes to the agenda. I would like to add, right after 9D, an announcements section, announcements and discussion. And then withdraw action item after close, number 19. And we can take off no student travel, 11A1 and 12B.
11A1 we're removing, is that correct?
Yep. And then that will go back over to 12B on the consent agenda.
While we're removing things from the agenda, I'd also like removed 11B8, 13G,
11B8,
11B8, 13G, 11B10, and 13I.
Okay, 11B10.
Did you say 11B8? What did you say?
11B8, that's 11 Bravo.
so ROE,
Yep.
11B8 and 13G and 11 Bravo 10 and 13I.
reasoning?
I don't think that's something that we should consider for approval. I don't think it should even be considered without discussion. I apologize for not being at the Business Services Committee.
I mean, it was up for discussion at the Business Services Committee meeting.
And I wasn't there, I apologize.
All right.
Can we go into a discussion to handle that versus removing it?
Correct.
As we're getting closer to the year on some of these items?
Correct. Well, we will, this will be, I guess, a perfect time. We will, right after, I would say, we'll keep them on the agenda, but I would say right after 10, so 9E for announcements and discussion. We can pull those ones into discussion
Fair,
and then go forward with it
fair.
on the agenda. Okay. So we are gonna move, all right, I just wanna make sure I'm doing this right. So 11B8 and 11B10 up to discussion for 9E.
Fair.
Okay.
What was the one for discussion?
11B10 and 11B8 will be discussed right around 9E.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's right.
All right, with those changes, can we get a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes,
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
All right. All right, moving along, Dr. Yarbrough.
All right, thank you. The mission of the Harlem Consolidated School District as a vital part of the community is to help diverse learners realize their unlimited potential by providing an educational program dedicated to academic excellence and the development of strong character in a safe and respectful learning environment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion for approval of the board meeting minutes, July 17th, 2023, regular and closed minutes, July 19th, 2023, special board minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
All right, turn it over to Jason Moon.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight is an opportunity for us to highlight one of our alumni. As I talked at our last meeting, we're rolling out our Harlem Alumni Hall of Fame. She's way too young to qualify for it, but we're in that process of really ramping up our recognition of our alumni. And tonight, we have an opportunity to recognize somebody that's in town currently. Sharon and I spoke months ago about the opportunity to have Michaela Schmelzer in to talk a little about what she's accomplished since her time at Harlem. And so we finally got her in here, which I'm excited about. This girl has accomplished more than I know. You know, she kind of, it puts me to shame almost in the amount of stuff that she's accomplished in her short time after Harlem. She attended the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, biomedical engineering degree. She's got a master's in business administration, so an MBA. She's playing professional soccer in Greece, and this summer is playing professional basketball at the Rockford Lightning. And so that is a laundry list of things that are pretty awesome accomplishments. And so we're super excited to have you here. I'm gonna let her say a few things about her time and all the things she's doing, but you know, let alone her academic achievements, just the playing 2 sports at the D1 level is pretty impressive. There's not too many athletes that do that, and so that's a huge accomplishment. But obviously, this girl's done a lot of stuff, and so I'm going to let her talk a little bit about some of her experiences because it's an honor to have her here and to be watching her journey since her time at Harlem. So
Thank you.
yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me. First, it's an honor to be here in front of you guys. So I graduated in 2016 from Harlem. Did soccer and basketball there all 4 years. Loved my experience. That's one of the main things that I remember about Harlem, obviously being a big sports person. Most of my memories from Harlem actually came from the basketball side in terms of actually going to colleges and watching the games. It kind of gave us a preview of what to expect, so I really appreciate that about the basketball program because I know that they still do that there. But fast forward a little bit, it was my senior year. I was actually committed to NIU to just play soccer, and I was like, I can't give basketball up. I don't think many people will take me, but it might be worth a shot. And so I was committed to NIU, and I asked their basketball coach if, would you allow me to play 2 sports? And they're kind of like, yeah, but it was the yeah to, keep me there for the soccer team. And so I opened back up and was connecting with people back here at Rockford, and it actually brought me to Milwaukee, and I went up there for a weekend for a visit, and they were both on board. They didn't really know much about me. They saw my film and stuff, but we had a couple conversations, and they're like, if you think you could do this, like, we'll make it work. And I was like, I went home, and there was no decision. I'm like, if I can play 2 sports, like, this has been my dream if I don't have to pick. Because if you know me, I've always been bouncing back and forth, as I am still now. And so I signed to go to Milwaukee, and that was my senior year, I think in January. So a lot of people knew where they were going, but I was kind of later. And so a little bit about like the 2 sports. The soccer season is in the fall. It's pretty short. It's from like August to November. And then basketball, you usually go in the summer for 8 weeks, and you're doing practices and school. And then the season's obviously pretty long. It goes from, I think, October to May, or a little bit before that. And so I'm basically doing something the whole year. Obviously, when I'm back in the summer, I was training, for those first 8 weeks for basketball. And
It's pretty impressive to be able to obviously navigate biomedical engineering and then obviously go on your master's and to be able to do all of that while doing that because one sport alone is a lot of work and a lot of commitment, and so that's pretty impressive too that you were able to accomplish all of that academically.
yeah, and so I actually didn't know what I wanted to do going into it. I was actually pretty set on architecture, and I talked to a couple people that were in the program already, and they're like, yeah, we're in the building until like 2, 3 a.m. And I was like, oh, I don't know that will work with my sports schedule. So I ended up choosing engineering because my dad is a mechanical engineer, and there's a lot of opportunities for women, especially biomedical. The health side of it is, booming right now, especially. And so I knew I would have an option. I still don't know what I want to do with it, and I blame that on sports, but that's okay. So yeah, I was always doing classes in the summer, and I actually finished my degree in 5 years, the engineering side, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then my MBA was a year and a half. And yeah, just like a day in my life, it was really from usually like 6 a.m. to 9-10 p.m. because I was a lot of times had soccer and basketball practice in the same day, especially in the like the school year. So yeah, it was definitely a unique situation, and I look back and I don't know how I actually got through it. But the biggest advice I could give is just live day by day, and that's really how I got through. And just to be able to, have that opportunity. And I obviously worked really hard. I put in a lot of extra work. A lot of people probably don't know all the things that I did. Even my parents don't even know. They just showed up to the game sometimes. But so it was definitely a lot of work.
Tell us a little bit about Greece and
Yeah. So after I graduated, my last 2 years was just basketball, and I've always wanted to play professionally overseas. I don't know why, just always wanted to do that. I've never been overseas, so I think that was a big thing. And so I ended up finding an agent, and he ended up finding me a place. I think I left September 22nd of last year, and he texted me on September, I think like 1st, and he's like, "You're going to Greece." So there wasn't much of a turnaround there, and I'd been waiting for a while to decide where I was going, and it was really my only option, and I was like, well, I have nothing to lose. It'll be a good, foot in the door. And I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know where I was living. I didn't know absolutely anything. I didn't know the schedule. I didn't know the coach. I didn't, it's just a little different. Sports are different there than it is here. And so I spent the last, 10 months in Greece. We ended up getting second, so it was a good season. And yeah, I loved the experience outside of soccer as well, and I'm going back to the same team. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of good stuff that happened.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing that progress, and we hope that you get to take full advantage of that. I know that a few people from Harlem that have graduated and have gone on to play overseas, and the things that they've all said to me have been just taking full advantage of that experience, and they can do their jobs and all that stuff later on.
Right.
But, to get to have that opportunity is pretty cool, and then obviously to be so successfully academically. So, on behalf of all of us, and we're proud of you, and we're excited to see what comes in the coming years. So, congratulations.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
So, can I have the board come and do a photo real quick? Sure.
Okay.
What is your World Cup team?
Oh,
man.
But they're up, so. Yours?
Nigeria.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Hold on.
Stay still. Sharon's like, you guys know how to
Wait.
take it.
I went to. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thank you
look,
guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. I will.
You can still see her directly.
That makes it fun.
So I have one more thing to share with all of you. Last week, I had Michael head around and take some photos of some of the projects that we have going on. And so we've got a quick little video to highlight some of our playground projects, our bathroom stuff at the middle school, the CTE, rock cut, all of that. So there's a few things that we still have to do with some of the playgrounds, and so we'll hopefully get that by the next board meeting. So obviously, thank you
Thought
to
of
the
that
board
dirt
for all
pile.
of the work on that, and it's really be exciting to see the updates moving forward. We want to at least give you, because you may not get the chance to drive around everywhere, but at least get a chance to see some of the updates and where things stand, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
good
you.
job. Good job, Mike.
They heard it.
All right, we have one comment from the community. This will be for Pamela Harding. When you're ready, we will be listening.
I just want to say thank you. I regret not having been a part of these committees in the past. That's on me. It's not on any of you. But I do want to say thank you for the opportunity for the community and stakeholders like such as myself to be a part of these committee meetings, to be able to voice and to be able to share what I believe in, what I have strong thoughts about, and to be able to share that with you all. That has been wonderful for me. And I can't not say thank you for that. And that's why I wanted to speak tonight. I know I've come at you hard in the past. I just have a passion for these kids like you do. And I just want you to know that they mean as much to me as they do to you too. So thank you.
Thank you. Rolling it over to the most exciting time. Approval of the bills.
All right. Thank you for the big build-up on the intro.
Was it?
The payables for this period were $2,696,199.38. I don't have a payroll on here just because of the timing of the way the meetings fell. So split out by fund, the education fund paid $1,323,342.90. The tort fund paid $11,724. The operations and maintenance fund paid $183,270.46. The transportation fund paid $23,949.02. And the capital projects fund paid $1,153,913 even. Again, for total expenditures of $2,696,199.38. Are there any unanswered bill questions? That's it.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second for approval of the bills?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
All right, turning it back over to you, Josh, for the announcements and discussion part. All of it, is that gonna be for this part?
We'll do the Ringland part first. Okay, so this is our first kind of gradual update of CTE and other projects going on. So Greg Cladar from Ringland Johnson is here and was going to kind of just talk through some of the projects and CTE, like the status of things.
Sure. Sure. And I asked Greg, was he ready? He said he's always ready. so-
Good job.
Yeah. The CTE is obviously a very exciting part of the project and the largest part of the project, but it's been a busy summer. The middle school is moving along, and so I thought I'd kind of start with the summer work, knowing that we're coming down to the deadline here in the next 2 weeks, which you should be able to hit in all the projects, with a few possible exceptions. But middle school has been a challenge. We ran into some asbestos work that we had to take care of. We really lost most of the month of June, but considering that we were supposed to start June 5th and we actually started closer to July 5th. We do expect to have everything open on time. It will go down to about the last day. I think the petitions are the last item. They're supposed to come in on the 15th and we're supposed to be done the 16th. One item, the fin tubes had to get measured after the tile went up. So our guys were able to salvage 2 to 3 and then we'll build a little temporary enclosure for those. So they're not, the fin tubes aren't exposed. But those will come in September as a punch list item. But we should be able to we expect to finish the middle school on time. There'll be a little overtime between now and there to get it done. But that's why we have a little contingency and we'll take care of that. So the middle school's going well. The high school, Most of the work within the high school is gonna happen next summer because of the lead times we talked about before for particularly the electrical panels and the rooftop units. It would have been really tough, so those got pushed out, but there are quite a few rooms from the training area. Oh, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's 4 or 5 areas we're working in, and we're expecting to have those on time. One small item that'll carry over, but they should be functional and working for the school. Rock cut, we broke ground on July 5th. Actually, you had groundbreaking earlier, so you broke ground longer. We started digging for foundations and site work July 5th. As we stand up last week, all the foundations are in right now. So we're waiting on the precast, which should be here in about, 2 more months, I think early October. We're looking for precast to come. So that is right on schedule, and everything's moving well there. And leads us to the CTE. Of course, that's the very exciting project, and the program that you guys are doing there is fantastic to be able to, especially someone who works in the construction field, is one of the disciplines, to have those opportunities for your students and for the community, I think is fantastic. Foundations are complete on the CTA. A lot of dirt work has been moved there. We're still working through some utility issues. Well, we're close. We're close on that, but I think we have a solution. We definitely have that solution for the water worked out. It's just a matter of now finalizing design and checking all the numbers. We're going to be about half of what we thought the original number would be, but that's the parties all came together and came up with a better solution.
I don't think they know that one. We need a backflow preventer from the state plumbing inspector,
Yeah.
so.
And the first ran through there, it looked like it was more than $200,000, but we came up with an idea to put a small, it's funny because we can't, it's how you define things. So they wouldn't let us put a backflow just outside like you used to do because that's would cause problems. But we could put it in a building. Our building's going to be 7 by 10, but it'll be in a building. And we're going to put it right over the junction where they join now. So we minimize our flows. We use the same 6-inch valve into the building. And we were able to save a lot of that. We're finalizing the pricing right now, but we hope to cut it more than in half with that idea. And we've been working with the engineers and designers. And it just, sometimes things don't come easy. I mean, we are in a floodplain down there. And originally the building was 96 feet, but they just couldn't make that work. So we actually went to the Illinois DNR and they declined it. But they said we could have a building up to 70 feet. So our building would be 10 by 7. It'll be masonry and it'll withstand the weather. It has to be insulated and heated for the backflow. But we've got that all worked out. So, and we're continuing to work through issues. Precast on there is scheduled to come before rock cut. It should be in mid-September right now. We're looking for precast on there. Followed right behind by the load-bearing masonry walls, and then steel, and like a sandwich, we just start adding the layers on. So if you look out there, there's not quite as much happening right now, but there's a lot of things happening in the background. Not in the background, but what you don't see with approvals and submittals and reviews and all the things that we go through to double check everything. But we're still all on schedule for all the projects. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I just thank you, Greg, for you and your team, and also the collaboration with DLA as well, keeping us on schedule. And then anything that comes about, working through that and trying to keep the cost down.
So always looking at the cost. We're always looking at the cost. But we that's part of our role is every time we see something, we have to see, what are the dollar signs with that. And unfortunately, there is. We work at an existing facility and you go through those things, sometimes there's some surprises and we've got to meet all the governmental codes and state codes and we want to do that. That's the last thing we want to do is not give you a completely code up to date. The last part of it would be the tuck pointing. The tuck pointing was an alternate when we bid it in the spring. It came in significantly over your budget. Went back, worked with DLA to come up with a different plan. We're out to bid right now with that plan. We have a walkthrough tomorrow and we'll be getting those numbers here later this month. Hopefully closer to admits the scope. We worked with one of the masons in Rockford to kind of help get an idea of which things had to be done and which things could get put off. And so we'll be bringing that number to you here shortly. So that's kind of the last open piece there from what we did in the spring. But again, we weren't able to accept any of the bids. We didn't even propose it to you because from talking to Josh and Dr. Yarborough, realized that the scope and the dollars had just not matched. And that's the way this construction manager process will work. We do need to get you where you need to be. And sometimes it took a few steps back, but we keep moving forward. And we appreciate the opportunity. I think the team's doing a great job. And the whole staff with Harlan it's great to work with. The communication and just the collaboration. I wished if all our clients were as good work with you guys, I would have a much easier job than I do right now. So we really have had it's a great relationship. We enjoy it very much, and we appreciate the opportunity. So,
One simple question, excuse me, when they finish the gymnasium at Rock Cut, are they going to tear down the old one? Are they gonna make that a cooking cafeteria? Are they gonna do something different with the old building?
well, I can only speak to what's in our plans. We don't have any work in our plans to change that gym. Someone else here might have a better answer to that one. I don't know.
We have so many sections there that we're doubling up for physical education right now, so this will give us the opportunity so that we aren't going to need to double up in that facility.
So you made a 7-foot by 10-foot building.
We're going to. That's
How
what's
tall
proposed.
is it?
It'll be about 8 feet tall. It'll be about 8 feet tall.
Can we use that for storage?
It's
No,
gonna be
because this backflow preventer we just have a few inches of clearance. We're really pushing to put it in. So it's a long, if you don't know what a backflow preventer is, it doesn't allow the water, what it says, doesn't allow it to go back. The trouble is, it's on an 8-inch line. So it's big. This assembly is probably about 6 feet long. It stands a couple feet off the ground. It will fill up that space. And you've got to have room to work around and service. It may need to be serviced or changed out someday. So that's taking account of the space. But we've worked with the engineer, worked with the plumber, and everybody says 7 by 10 will work. It's kind of funny. That's why I brought it up.
So is this like close to the building or out in the?
It's out close to the walk path or the bike path. Out. It's not far from the building. It's right over the current line. So you've got a line right now that goes around your building. And then it ends up kind of becoming, it starts out as a domestic line and it becomes later a fire line. Well, that's kind of not in today's thinking. Today's thinking is the fire lines need to be protected with backflow because that water doesn't move in the fire lines and it's unless there's fire, so hopefully it's not moving. But the domestic line that comes in off the south does. So since you were making changes to it by the new laws, you need to kind of separate those systems. So that fire line, which is still there, so what happens, we come up into the house, we break off, go back down and into the building, and then we have the backflow preventer. So all the water that goes into the fire line stays there. It won't go back and contaminate. So in some ways, it's making your system more safe, and it's just, it's good. A lot of those things came out of what happened in Flint, Michigan and others. But it's something we've been dealing with over the last 10 years. It's not something new. Probably something you should have done anyway, but because you didn't touch it before, you didn't have to. But now that you're in the system, we need to take care of that. So.
Sounds like we should put a mural on it and name it.
We know somebody who can wrap them.
Yeah.
Or sell a sponsorship.
There we go.
Yeah.
Close to the street.
Like it.
Well, thank you, Greg.
Anything else? You guys have a nice evening.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you. Right?
All right.
You go art, you wanna go NASCAR? Meet in the
So
middle.
now we will be discussing 11B8.
We're gonna do the communications committee. All right, we can discuss it right now.
That's what we're gonna-
Okay, the reason why I pulled these out, 11B8 has to do with the agreement with the Regional Office of Education. Are they still going to provide the current, because that's kind of one of their tasks, is to provide those types of truancy interventions, at least it always has been. Are they out of that business now? The regional office isn't going to do that anymore?
So the past couple of years, I think this is year 2, year 3, I don't. These individuals, so let me go take several steps back. Several steps back was we hired one that helped with the secondary because with the, once they hit a certain age, the ROE really focuses on those younger grades. So they were getting to the high school and there was nobody to really follow up and try to get the kids back into school. So the interventionist focused at the high school, and we had them at the high school and the middle school. Then 3 years ago, we ended up getting this other individual that they focus on our district. So instead of us just getting somebody here and there to take our Harlem students and do the home visits and the wraparound services and everything, they are dedicated to our whole district, and so they focus on the whole district. So they did do some changes in how they are doing things, but it's right now to help provide additional wraparound services.
Is the Regional Office of Education still providing attendance and truancy intervention for the district?
Through what we have been paying for.
Right. We've always been paying, Mr. Smith. Are you thinking they were provided for free before?
So we're paying the person that they have on staff now?
Correct.
And so is this in addition to that?
They're the people that are at for our district.
Right.
So they are dedicated to Harlem only.
Is there something that?
Last year, how much did we pay the Regional Office of Education for attendance or truancy intervention services?
The contract amount was $72,000. We've only paid $42 at this point. We're waiting for a final bill.
So last year, in the 2022-2023 school year, we paid $40,000.
This is a check from January for $42,000. My understanding is another $30,000 that we're waiting to get a bill on.
So a total of $72,000 is how much we paid last year for the same services
Yes.
as this?
Yes, and this is the same cost. It didn't go up per hour. Because it
Yeah,
came
nothing
to the
changed.
board last year too.
Man, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Unless you know something different, Mr. Smith, it's the same
Okay.
partnership we've had with.
I thought that this was in addition to what we were already doing.
No.
So this is just a maintenance of what we've done in the past.
Correct.
Correct.
This is to continue on the level of service that we've been having.
Right, at both the elementary and secondary level.
I have a quick question. Since we're discussing it, and I was on vacation for the business services meeting, is this a 12-month position, or is this a just during the school year position?
Just during the school year, and they do not charge us for, obviously, when we're out of school, things like
Okay.
that, holidays and all that, so, yeah.
Okay.
Just when our students.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
I guess what caught my attention is, because I was kind of thinking about having our own person doing that, somebody that we would have control. When I see that much money, I'm thinking, that's somebody we could hire, and then we could use that person.
Well, I'd like to have that discussion because I didn't like that. This is something that we've never brought up, but, all right, so this person working for the regional board office right now, right?
Mhm.
All right. Who supervises them?
Megan Hawkinson.
Okay.
She oversees truancy for Winnebago County.
But for Winnebago County, not for Harlem.
Yeah, this person directly reports to her.
Okay, so there is still controls there.
Right.
See, I thought that was, when I see regional, I just think that they're under Scott Bloomquist and not us, so. Okay, well then, as long as we have some kind of controls and we can make sure that they're doing their positions. Okay.
And we have meetings with the team as well, and talk through what our expectations are at both the elementary and secondary level, and, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good
Megan's
relationship.
really great to work with.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do it, but again, like I said, from my own person, we've done this for years. I always, whenever I see ROE and someone working for them, I always think that they work for Scott, not us, so like, that's what I was just wondering. Okay. All right, thank you. What about 11B10.
11B10, it had to do with the, bringing somebody in for the trauma-informed training. To me, I don't understand why we're paying money for an outside agent to come in and do trauma-informed training when we've already got somebody on our payroll that we're paying lots of money to for exactly that purpose. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But lots of stuff doesn't.
Mickey, you want to talk about?
Sure, so Heidi with the Y is somebody that before COVID hit, a lot of our schools who were trying to get her to come in and speak to our staff. We were fortunate enough that last spring we were able to bring her in for those SIP teams that was at Loves Park and OP. Now McChesney, because we couldn't get her in, bought the DVD set. After she spoke to the schools, one of the things as feedback that we received was it would be great to have her be able to talk to our support staff, use the same language, same terminology, etc. And we seldom have an opportunity to bring somebody from the outside in for our support staff, because often they do have people from the district who do all the presenting. And based off of the request, that's why I moved forward with trying to get Heidi with the Y to talk to the support staff.
And when Heidi with the Y came in before, we didn't have somebody on staff that we're already paying to do just exactly what Heidi with the Y does.
That's true.
Correct. And so, you know, like Dr. was saying, the reason for the recommendation too was, I mean, to have our certified teachers, you know, appreciate the training and what was done, and then to actually say, you know what, we need to dedicate this to our support staff. We're like, this is awesome. I mean, and so that's where the recommendation came from. So.
Well, and I'm not saying Heidi with the Y isn't the most wonderful person in the
I agree with you
world,
on that, but
but if that's the case, then maybe we should have Heidi with the Y and save the district some money on something, that we're already paying for.
Well, my question would be, if McChesney bought the DVDs, why do we need her to come back in person?
There's a license for 1 year, I
Yes.
believe. That's the same as this year's agreement, because we actually discussed if we were doing this, to add on those DVDs again for anyone that couldn't make this particular training to watch it as well.
It would cost
Transportation.
less to
Yeah.
repurchase the DVDs than it would to purchase Heidi with the Y?
Again, I can't speak to that. I don't think it was a package deal, like you could add that as an add-on, but it wasn't the sole thing, but I can't speak based on the materials I've provided.
It's different when I put an auditorium of that many people in and I push a DVD and I have a speaker. I mean, the engagement is just very different.
You don't get to wheel the TV in?
I do have a question, though. In all honesty, we do have a position in the district for trauma informed, right? It was created. Shouldn't we be leaning on that, though? I mean, it's a pretty expensive position.
And that position is supporting SIP teams with trauma informed and other SCL that we've had meetings, we've been working with the
Well, I know that this is a
ROE.
request. My question is, could they do this? In all honesty.
In all honesty, yes, a 4-hour session, I mean, that's a lot, it means that person would not be able to support the other buildings at that time, they'd be focused to just that one spot, but can they? Yes.
Would it be as effective, I guess, as it can, and effective, would it be as effective in that case as well?
I really couldn't tell you yes or no. One of the things I know is that I can go and stand in front of a staff and, or a group of teachers and I can say something and it's totally different when somebody from the outside comes in and says the exact same thing that I say every day. And it can be, we got teachers over there. It's the exact same message.
It's like talking to
and
mom and dad and somebody else.
It's not that I don't have that base that I can give that, but sometimes I need to have somebody from the outside come in and say the exact same thing, like she's not off the mark. She knows what she's talking about to support what I'm trying to do.
And I think the consistency with what was delivered to the certified staff, to be able to provide that support to the support staff, is huge as well. I think we have conversations too about what we provide to our support staff in trainings and things of that nature. And this is just an example, in my opinion, of where we can give some consistency to those type of trainings. So, I mean, I understand where the questions are coming from and why, I do. But I also believe in supporting both our certified staff and our support staff, and I think this is one of those ways, with that consistent message, you know, so.
Is it possible for the person that we have hired to do this trauma information, whatever they call it, to actually work with the DVDs and do some of the, whatever needs to be done with them, and still, I mean, this is for this particular amount of money, it doesn't seem like much of a drop in the bucket, but it's still money that could be put to something else and used more economically.
Yeah, I mean-
Yeah, it could, yeah.
Like I was saying, does she have the ability to do that? Absolutely.
We've used the phrase teach the teacher quite a bit.
Yeah.
So whoever goes through that can then pick it up again. This might be a good example of that. If they don't already know that, to your point, Larry.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll move those forward for discussion and vote. Good evening, everybody. Our next regular board meeting will be August 21st, 2023 at 6 p.m. Our next policy committee meeting will be August 14th, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. I really liked to see our alum that is doing so well, not just in sports, but bioengineering and our MBA while doing two sports. That's something not to be frowned on, and also, I mean, those are things that we should be screaming from the tops of what we can do, not just sports. I love the education aspect. Even Rebecca mentioned that last time, and I would like more of that to happen over the next year, as more kids and more students being brought forward to be exemplified on their academic achievements, not just on what they do on a court. With that, I will turn it over to Kurt Thompson.
Sure. I'll continue to kind of echo that. I love the focus of what our alums are doing and getting that and making sure where our students can see that as well. It's great to kind of have these examples of, a lot of times it's sports, but it's nice to see what they're doing in the professional fields as well, to kind of look to going, wow, I went there, I can also do that. It's not always just a pro athlete or a musician or the like for that. It's great to have Greg with the update. Great to see everything's coming. Share some of that. As I always say, I'd love to get that out to the community so that everyone can see these great items. All the work that we've done to get those playgrounds in, they're not just a benefit to our students, but they're a benefit to the community. And sharing that and doing all the hard work that we've done to kind of, let's brag about it, right? Like, let's kind of dig in for that as well. Let's see, what else do I have here? It was an honor to work the Golden Apple event now 2 weeks ago for Mike and Terrell to do some goofy games and do our darndest to try and beat Belvedere, but raise some money for the Golden Apple, and no drinks were spilled on anyone that I know of. So it was great to be able to participate with that with some of our board members, Terrell, and some of our teaching staff as well. One last thing to the community. I've gotten a sneak peek at the Husky names that are coming through, and we have an amazingly creative group of everyone that has submitted those. Like, I was hoping just to kind of look through them, I'm like, I don't know how to pick a single one. They were all very funny, unique, creative. I hope we, after we do pick the one, we do get to share some of the ones that didn't make it, because they are honestly fantastic and creative on that list. And
Just so everybody knows, my boat's still for sale, so.
I didn't see for sale on that list of the options there.
I'll go half price of whatever he's doing.
Speaking of finances, not that you weren't gonna be there anyways, but the business services meeting, that's my segue, is gonna be September 6th, 2023 here at 5:30. So we know Larry's gonna make this one, just so that we can get through this meeting a little bit quicker. But everyone else, this is your call to make it in on time.
Keep the gloves on. Love the power.
Larry would have done the same thing. And yeah, I clearly can't do any more than that, so that'll end my report.
Thank you for that. Wow, I'm gonna turn it over to Evelyn Meeks.
Okay, hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out this evening. First to the community, thank you, Mrs. Harding. Truly appreciate, your comments. Thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to Michaela. I mean, wow, she's definitely an inspiration to all of, especially females. She's showing that you can keep up the academics, plus do a dual sports. That's awesome. So I wish her continued success in all she does. I attended the safety committee meeting on July 19th, and I just want to say to everyone that's involved with that, thank you so much. Thank you, Nikki. I'm leaving out names because I said it was like Jason. Was Jason? Sorry about that. But there's everyone that's involved. Thank you so much. People just do not realize the hard work and the dedication that you guys put in from the police department, the fire department, administrators. There's a lot of things that you guys discuss and you're trying to do to improve the city. So I want to tell you I really appreciate it, and I enjoy coming to those meetings once a year. But your work that you're doing is not going unnoticed because you guys are dedicated to try to keep our school district safe and try to prevent different things from happening, from suicide, sexual harassment, and everything, and other things that are going on. So thank you so much for all that you do. I attended the Equity Social Justice meeting, and I just want to say to that committee, thank you so much for your continued work on making sure that everybody in the district is getting the equity that they deserve. Everyone is treated fair, and they're getting the proper education that they need for all, not just some, everybody. And so I want to say thank you to everybody, the community and administrators and staff, teachers and all that come to that meeting. We really do appreciate your support. Then I also attended, I think it's called NO, or NO, where it was at the high school where they had the fire department, the police last week, and the K-9s. It was excellent. I mean,
The National Night Out.
yeah, thank you. I knew it was something, stand for, but it was really nice to go there and see the community there, the K-9s, the fire trucks, the police cars, the games they had, and the free food, hot dogs, chips, and pops, and dessert. And the little hats they gave the students, little pink for girls and black for the boys, fire chief hats and stuff like that. It was just a wonderful event. It was just nice just to see the community come together and enjoy themselves for like 4 hours. And the weather was really wonderful, so I really enjoyed that. And let's see. Oh, I also went, this is my first year, where I say month, being a part of the ISB Resolution Committee meeting, and boy, there's 21 divisions. I represent the Kishwaukee division, and it was nice just to see different people from all over the state attend that meeting. And when I got there, we had dinner at 5:30 to 6:30, and the meeting was from 6:30 to 10:45. Because you go and I couldn't figure out why they have it on a Friday night. Now I know why. But if we go past 11, then we'll have to close that meeting, vote to close, go out and then come back in if we want to continue the meeting. So we didn't have to, so. But it was just, it was different, it was education. I'm still learning, but we have all the different resolutions that'll be coming up for the November for the conference, and we go in and we just listen to we had like some people from further south of the state, they weren't able to attend. So they did it virtually, and so we went in and we just listened to the resolutions, and we voted on to adapt or what to send that we'll be getting.
That will be getting in the package.
We get that pretty soon, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I like to have a pro now, so we kind of go through those and see what they do. Now we got someone on the inside that can really explain
We
them.
got some really good ones coming up, so.
Great.
I think that's all. Oh, the next equity meeting will be September 28th. At the high school at 4:30 and room 145. So thank you all.
All right, quickly, I do want to make one, kind of an announcement. Black and Orange Night. That's going to be
August 18th.
August 18th. See,
5:30.
but we changed it up, it's gonna be at the high school, right?
At the high school.
Yeah, so it's gonna be more of a community event. It's going to be at the high school. They're going to have a lot of new stuff that they're trying this year. So come to the high school, 5:30, August 18th. And with that, I will now turn it over.
I just want to echo kind of what everybody has said. I mean, for time's sake, I don't feel like repeating everything, but I do like having our student athletes. And if you notice, it's a student first, athlete second. You know, I always told my children it's always books before ball. I always told the kids that I coached and stuff in time. But I think I want to really highlight more of that, what's going on. I actually my daughter played basketball, so I actually got to watch Michaela play, and she was electric playing basketball. And then obviously I've watched a couple of her games in college, and I can't get Greece soccer on my TV, so I would try. I would try if I could find it. I would like to watch it.
It's on Ocho.
It's on the Ocho. I want to thank Jason and Michael for providing us the video. Like, we can talk about what we're doing, but actually looking at it, like with the playgrounds. Obviously, I haven't been around, and maybe I should. I haven't been driving around looking at playgrounds, but what we're doing, it's beautifying the properties that we own.
Yeah.
I would, once again, I think I'm going to say this every month, but we need to do better with keeping our buildings looking right, keeping them trimmed up. We have great property, and I've said this. I'm going to probably say this until I'm blue in my face, but you look good, you feel good. If our buildings, we have nice buildings, we get them looking good, we can all be even more proud of what we're accomplishing in this district right now. Other than that, you know, like I said, I echo what everybody else has been saying. I think the best is still yet to come. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, were you referring to the Harlem Middle School sign when you said that? Didn't somebody send out a picture of the Harlem Middle School sign?
Somebody sent it out, but that's not what I was referring to.
Oh, I thought that's what you were referring to.
I was referring to the weeds in front of our schools that are like this high that are waving in the windows, you know, and that kind of stuff. So
You mean our native flora?
our native flora, yes.
Flora.
Now, if we are gonna do prairie, let's at least put a sign on it, and a fence around it, call it a natural prairie. I mean, but let's just not. But
It helped to have some of those weeds in front of that sign at the middle school.
Yeah.
I think that's getting replaced.
Or a
isn't
new
it?
sign.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a new
What?
sign.
A new sign?
At some point.
What?
Yeah.
It's a pretty old looking sign.
Yeah.
Not as old as the billboard.
All right. Before Josh explodes.
Thank you. So, yes, again, the focusing on that student part of it is absolutely important. We received the that Harlem alumni newsletter. That was it was so well written, and yeah, some of the people that it highlighted in that newsletter, it's just a joy to read. Mostly I just ignore stuff like that I get from, but I read that. That was very good, and yeah, that focus on not everybody becomes a superstar, but everybody is a superstar, you know? And to focus on that, to focus on the great things that Harlem did to get these people started in their lives. Yeah, the places that she's gonna go is just amazing. Yeah, now's the time to play soccer over in Greece. When you're 55, kiddo, you're not gonna go play soccer in Greece. You can always be a MBA-er, right? Business person. MBA.
MBA.
Yeah, the business person.
You're 55, as you say?
That's it?
You're 55?
Almost, yeah.
Okay. I'm
Almost.
just checking, yeah, that's, hey, I didn't know you were 55. Keep going.
So yeah, I think that's very important to highlight those things. And again, like what Ms. Carlson said a couple months ago about, yeah, we need to have more of those in here, or as many, maybe not more, we need to have as many people come in here to highlight the excellence that they've done academically, just as much as we do those athletic accomplishments that we have, absolutely. Yeah, and just, again, to highlight that we all, we really need to be sending that message to all the young people and our older people alike. It's not okay to hurt anyone. And I hope that we all get that opportunity to say that to somebody, and that we don't know what kind of a difference that it makes, but just to be able to say, it's not okay to hurt other people. And it has to start with us. We're all influencers. Sometimes we think that it's only those people that are on the social media that are the influencers. We are all influencers. And we can influence people to be nice and to not hurt others. So please take advantage of any opportunity that you have to share that message. And also always take every advantage to come to the education committee meeting.
Ooh, nice
Because the next education committee meeting is August 29th at 4:30, and that's the first meeting of the 23-24 school year. So that will be the one that sets the foundation for what will go on at the education committee meeting for the remainder of the school year. So it ought to be one of those edge of the seat type performances.
Is there a theme picked out yet? Do you have a theme?
Theme? No, it's the beginning. It is the alpha.
Okay,
All right.
it's gonna be hard to top.
Yeah, it is.
Rebecca Carlson.
Thank you. I'm gonna miss the first education meeting of the year, sadly, but I'm gonna go to the ocean, so that'll be a lot more fun. Thank you, Jason, for bringing in academics. I really appreciate that. I truly, truly do. My brain can't even wrap around biomedical engineering. I mean, it's just like when GE Medical's up there in Milwaukee, if she's looking for a job. That to me is amazing. I'm thrilled with the new playgrounds. I think that's fantastic that we're putting in some of these new playgrounds and showing the community that we care about our kids. I'm sure there's a lot of codes that have probably had to be changed and updated as well with some of these playgrounds. It's just, wow. I'm still concerned about the middle school and all the things that are going on over there. The bathrooms are pretty, but they're bathrooms, so to me, they're pretty, and that's about it. I think that's about all. I'm still learning. I went to an educating meeting with Larry a little bit today, and it was just, to me, it is just so many acronyms that I'm twiddling my thumbs trying to put them all in order, but it's just a matter of.
Can I get the cheat sheet?
Well, actually, I have one, and it's kind of scary.
It's not alphabetical.
Yeah, no, and I picked a name for our pup, so we'll see how that goes with our husky, but I find it very interesting how some of these, it'll be curious to see who picked what and how they got picked, are they Parker because it was Parker Center, or if it's just, who in the world would have come up with fart, so it's just.
No spoilers.
Yeah, no
Well, no,
spoilers.
obviously, anybody can pull up the list, they can get on the websites as well and pull up some of this stuff.
Is that released?
I don't think it's released.
I don't think it's released.
Spend like 5 to 10 minutes in a room with any 8 to 10-year-old.
It's gonna be part,
Well,
but still.
That's all it is.
If we all vote for
Well, I know
him,
what shirt to wear if that one becomes it.
Either way, so I defer.
I feel like a little bit out of the twilight zone. Usually I'm the one talking about academics. My grandpa always told me to talk about what I know, and mine's all about sports today. So, whoops. Sports start today. I think fall sports start today. So I just wanted to wish all the players a happy, healthy, successful season. If you have not gotten your physical to Miss Cooper, I highly suggest you get your physical to Miss Cooper. I'm looking forward to attending the sports games. I am thrilled that we have a girls flag football team, one of the fastest growing sports in academics, and how fun is that going to be to add another women's sport to our roster. That's super exciting. School is around the corner with our Huskies starting on the 21st, so I'm sending out really good back to school vibes to 122. It's going to be a good one. I can feel it. So to our teachers and staff and parents, thank you for your continued support of our kiddos. Parents, we're almost there. I'm looking forward to getting back in the buildings myself. The more I spend time in 122, the more I don't want to really do anything else. So I'm excited to spend some time at the buildings that I didn't get to visit. Dr. Yarbrough, just want to let you know I'm 9 books in for the Battle of the Books. So,
Where are you at? Let's do it. I didn't see you mention that earlier.
So my favorite quote so far is remember who you are and remember whose you are. The book is from, talks about family and community and the ability to really never forget where you come from and how you got to where you are today. It's a fantastic message for our students. I will admit that I have never played a team sport. Don't come at me. But I have had many teams. I tell my kids frequently, remember under whatever we're wearing, we have invisible Hastings jersey. If not anything else, you have us. So my current team, other than the Hastings, is one of 7. With a handful of more than honorable mentions. So I think this one's going to be an awesome year. I'm looking forward to it, team. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you so much. Dr. Bouchard.
After the length of my time last week, I put it all there, and I have nothing to report this week.
All right.
Much appreciated. No, I'm just kidding. It was so informative.
Very, very thorough.
Moving it over to Josh Rand.
I also have, oh wait.
You got 2 pages.
My first item tonight is a recommendation to approve a resolution declaring surplus property from the warehouse, Olson Park, Parker Center, and Windsor Elementary.
I'm just curious on where someone would find the wooden puppet theater.
How can you get rid of them? Exactly. Who would get rid of them? What are the puppets going to do?
How are they
They're
going
be
to perform?
homeless or-
Should I tell them I gotta keep it?
Clearly it was structurally
Well, it
stable.
says not needed. No, yeah, it says not needed, but
Right.
somebody needs a wooden puppet theater.
Yeah, the puppets.
The puppets have left town, that's why they don't need the theater.
Sanity's left us.
Are we good?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Next is a recommendation to approve facility request. I have one for a cheerleading showcase at the high school in November.
But I am thoroughly happy that you guys went through the line items.
There's a couple other things, I don't know why we're getting rid of them.
Next is a recommendation to approve a 1-year renewal with Ice Station in Espanol program with professional development training for a total cost of $5,632, paid with Title II and Title IV funds.
I believe anytime that you do Espanol, you should do it all in Espanol.
All right, I'll Google Translate that next time.
I'll Google Translate it back.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve a memorandum of understanding with One Goal to help prepare students for post-secondary opportunities at a cost of $61,000 paid through the Post-Secondary Success Grant Funds.
And everyone else figured this one out because it confused me at first. So by saying yes, they give you the 61,000 that then you spend.
It's basically
on the
like a
program.
reimbursement or like a rebate, is what I'm equating it to.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Like Menards.
But basically just looking at, we are approving 61,000, but it's not going out of directly our costs.
Zero cost, right? there any other questions on it? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve a one-year agreement with Cengage Learning at a cost of $3,124 paid with the curriculum instructions budget. And this is a required course through our partnership at Rock Valley College. Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve a one-year agreement with Test Out for a cost of $4,525, also paid with the curriculum instruction budget. And this provides our students an opportunity to earn credentials in networking in Microsoft Office. Next is a recommendation to approve a one-year agreement with Gold Star Learning for Mastery Manager software at a cost of $19,739.20, paid with curriculum instruction budget. And this allows high school and middle school staff to do formative and summative assessments and SLOs and create assessments to evaluate student learning.
Now, with that, is this something that we track usage of?
Yes, Jake gave us a usage report. When he came, he talked about how much it was used.
We still need to push towards it, I think, is the goal on this one, because that was one of my concerns, is now that we're out of, some of the funds for software, and we have to be far more
Well, I mean, I
picky.
don't, especially when we're doing those SLO, with all those stuff. And we, like you're saying, being picky, but let's make sure that it's, I know you do that.
Based on the description, I think this is still the most useful software, but we still have to handle some of the objections of some of the teachers that are using solutions that are potentially easier for them, but maybe not the best option, right? So I think this is one of the areas that we have to spend the next year and start to look for overlapping software. I mean, there's gonna be overlapping because there's different programs between kind of the lower grades and the higher grades. That's just one of those things we have to look to, but that may exist. This is one of the ones where there are multiple softwares, and some people either need to say, I know you're used to this, but this is what we're using, and this is why, or listen going, maybe this is the better solution, and we save ourselves the cost of this. But I think this is the first one where there's some direct overlap, and that was part of the discussion of having is, how do we make this tool even more useful with the data? How do we talk to the teachers, get their understanding to overcome their objections, or if their objections are for not using it are well-founded, how do we, stop using this next year?
I thought that this came up last year, that question of monitoring usage of all the different programs, platforms, applications.
We bring those numbers to Kurt every time we bring something forward. They've been
increasing. This is the first one that's still really on my radar is more concerning, and that's really due to just kind of the overlap of functionality. There's teachers that can accomplish something similar with other software that's out there.
But they're not able to tie it to the standards.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Right.
It's overlap, but it's not the best solution. But we're
Correct.
still having.
And we're finding certain departments really utilize it a lot and other departments don't. And so Melissa Jordan, who was at the meeting, who has done some of the professional development, we were talking to her and she was explaining that there's some additional trainings that she'd like to do because we can bring different banks into this resource that maybe not all of our teachers know about.
Yep. I think the conversation gets to a head next year, right? So this is the year that we kind of gave the warning last year to make sure they're transitioning.
Well, and we
They've
need
gotten that opportunity.
We need
and-
data points. So
Huh?
they
Yeah.
started the data points last year, we're gonna have some this year, and then you'll have.
I mean, this year was great to hear what the objections were, right? Of like, there's other software where I don't have to write the questions, and they may not be as good as questions, and they're not tying to the standards, but like, I appreciate if there's any solution to me that gives a little bit more time in my day. So a teacher that's going through going, I have to set up all these questions and tie them to standards, and there's another tool that does that for me. Is it the best? Probably not, but if you're doing 12 other things and testing other ways, and you just go, here's a test that's ready, like, I understand where that concern's coming from to use a different tool.
Any other questions on that? Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with the Regional Office of Education for support and services for attendance intervention at $50 an hour for 40 hours per week for the 23-24 school year. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. Are there any additional discussion before we end up voting?
Are we paying the $50 an hour just to have them on staff, or is that only when they're working with students?
$40 a week.
It's every week. Next is a recommendation to approve an independent contractor agreement with Soy Bilingual Therapy LLC to provide speech and language testing and evaluation reports for the 23-24 school year at $1,000 per student, paid with the IDEA grant. Questions on that? Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Heidi with a Y for trauma-informed professional development on January 12th, School Improvement Day, for support staff at a cost up to $6,700, paid with Title II and local funds. Any other further discussion to them?
So with this one, it's gonna be at that SIP day. Is the person that's in district doing support services on that SIP day currently scheduled?
I don't know the current schedule. I know there's some things that we were working on for that particular day.
Okay. Good.
My final item is a recommendation to approve a resolution authorizing Attorney Tim Miller to intervene in property tax appeal number, oh, I know you love these, Mike, 2022-03-081.001-C-3 for property index number 08-34-477-006 for the year 2022. This is the Northwest Bank appraisal. They're appealing the Board of Review's determination, which lined up with what they agreed with PTAB last year, I think. They don't have an appraisal. This is just for him to represent us at PTAB, but the township is actually leading that, so.
Okay.
So this doesn't have a direct cost other than whatever time he has 3 years down the road whenever PTAB hears this case, so.
Do we always intervene with any kind of property tax appeals, or everything from homeowners all the way up to businesses, or?
So these are just appeals of, so they're changes, we can only step in if the request of the valuation is a change of more than $100,000. So that's normally never residential. And then the township takes the lead on creating the assessment, the company appeals it, they either have an appraisal or they don't, the Board of Review makes a determination. If they're happy with that, then it ends there. If they want to continue forth with their request for lowering of the EAV, then they can take that to PTAB. That's downstate and can take 3 or 4 years to finish that. So it really depends on the merits of the case. Do they have an appraiser that's testifying? Is there an appraisal? Is there not? So we're not normally the lead objector, but we're just allowing him, when he goes down, to have a resolution saying, I've been authorized to speak on our behalf, and if need be, intervene.
So we're assuming it's possibly a major loss if they get their tax appeal reduced, or being that we have to send somebody down there, we're obviously concerned that we're gonna lose a big chunk of change.
So this one isn't a huge one like a Meyer or a Target, but and I don't know if they physically go down there or what happens on that day, or if that's even actually downstate. I haven't asked him where that physical location is, but.
I think it's locally, actually.
What'd you say?
I think somebody from downstate comes up locally and
Okay.
hears multiple
Sure.
things at the same time.
So some of this too is when they're looking at square footages by type, like a home improvement store, and if something square footage is way out of whack, then that can be pointed to. So it's also just trying to keep everything in balance with what the other pieces of this are, and supporting the township too. Since we're the largest taxing body, us being able to intervene is important, so.
It just seems odd that they have, this is the same bank previously that's done this, so they're obviously determined.
What you often see is, I think they can do this every 2 or 3 years, they'll hire an attorney out of Chicago to just see what they can
Try to
get taken
bully.
off their bill.
It's a bully tactic.
Sometimes they don't show it all to the hearings and they just automatically lose. Sometimes we can come up with an agreement on square foot, and that happens like a stipulation to that, so we can stop the process and both sides agree to make sure that it's fair. sometimes, it goes all kinds of different ways, but once it goes to PTAB, we should at least have the ability to intervene if we need to.
And our tax assessor is very diligent with this stuff. He's very, very good.
Yeah, and then
Looking out for every side.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we've seen that in the movement here, and my understanding is Northwest does not have an appraisal, so that's at least one positive. But I've seen us lose on a building that had already been torn down because it had been condemned. So it's pretty wild once you go down to PTAB.
It's a coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, we may not win, we may win, it may end up somewhere in the middle, so, I don't know. More information. Any other questions on it?
Not this time.
That is fair.
Thank you. Dr. Sugar.
Good evening. Tonight I have the recommendations for the personnel agenda with 3 changes. We have 15 transfers. Under transfers, I'd like you to note that Amber Bauscha is transferring to Maple, not McChesney. So Maple is where she's going. There are 16 employments, not 17. Please strike Brett Heidenreich's listing for the driver's ed summer school coordinator stipend. It was on an error. Next, we have 6 leaves of absence, and you'll notice we have some people student teaching, which is very exciting. I'm very excited about those. We have a lot this year, so I'm super excited about that, and I'm hoping that we get to keep them and that they'll want to stay here and be teachers here for their entire careers and never leave.
Never, ever.
We have a success right in the room. Hello, Cody. All right. And then we have 21 resignations. Please note that Michelle Laparte's resignation date is September 6th of 24, not 23. She's got another year before she can retire. So we're looking at 24. And that's it for the personnel agenda.
Do we actually,
So where are the student teachers from?
Where are they from? Oh, different schools.
Like a lot of different schools? How many from NIU?
No, can I
partial?
email that to you, Larry? I don't have that right with me. Rachel has it in her office.
Easier for them.
So, be happy to email it to you.
Yeah, I'd be very interested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Rachel down there.
I will let you know how many we have and where they're from.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shelley, when they do like this one that you changed to 2024, is that something that the district puts in, or is it something they have to stay till 2024, or it's just a personal change?
That's her choice.
Okay.
So, she put in the letter
Okay.
for 24, yeah. Teachers from.
Okay. Dr. Terrell Yarborough.
All right, thank you. I just got 3 items here, 2 FOIA requests. The first one is submitted on July 11th of this year by Vince Espy of Prairie State Wire, requesting substitute information, and then our response documents sent to him on July 19th. And then the second one submitted on July 18th of this year from Sherry Reed of Smart Procure regarding purchase orders and vendor information, and then our response documents sent to them on July 19th. And then I do want to reiterate, when we say that, or when I say that, that means that we have responded to the FOIA request, just in case anyone was wondering about that. And then I'm bringing on the recommendation to approve the 2023-2024 organizational chart that I went over in closed session at the last board meeting. And if there's further discussion, we can have that in closed session about that. That is my report.
And your update on your books.
I didn't mean to, don't ruin it, Aaron, don't ruin it.
I will give that update at the next board meeting.
All right.
He knows it's in jest.
It's all accountable.
It speaks volumes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so with that, I gotta find this out. For the consent agenda, can we get a motion to approve the personal agenda and addendum with change
Motion.
for the transfer?
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings?
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Hi.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve facility requests?
Motion.
Second, Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson. Aye. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
All right, going to action items. 13A, can I get a motion to approve resolutions declaring surplus property?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
13B, can I get a motion and a second to approve a one-year renewal with iStation and Espanol program with professional development training for a total cost of $5,632 paid with Title II and Title IV grants. Title IX funds.
Title 4.
Title IV. Yes, sorry.
Roman numerals are hard.
I had it the first time, then I just.
Especially when you're reading through the front of the
Motions.
list. Yeah.
Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve a memorandum of understanding with one goal to help prepare students for post-secondary opportunities at a cost of $61,000 paid with post-secondary success grant funds?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second to approve a one-year agreement with Cengage Learning at a cost of $3,124 paid with curriculum and instruction budget?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
All right.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve a one-year agreement with Test Out for a cost of $4,525 paid with curriculum and instruction budget?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
All right.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to the amount of 13F, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, I was writing some down. Can I get a motion and a second to approve a one-year agreement with Gold Star Learning for Mastery Manager software at a cost of $19,789.20 paid with curriculum instruction budget?
Motion.
Mr.
Second.
Smith. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
All right.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
No.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve agreement with the Regional Office of Education for support and services for attendance intervention at $50 an hour for 40 hours per week for the 2023-2024 school year?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve an independent contractor agreement with Soy Bilingual Therapy LLC to provide speech and language testing and evaluation reports for 2023-2024 school year at $1,000 per student, paid with the IDEA grant?
Motion.
Second. Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings.
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve agreement with Heidi with a Y for trauma-informed professional development on January 12th, School Improvement Day for support staff for a cost of up to $6,700 paid with Title II and local funds?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling.
No.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. McKnight.
Nope.
Mrs. Carlson.
No.
Mr. Smith.
No.
Mrs. Hastings.
Yes.
Mrs. Meeks, yes. Motion fails.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve a resolution authorizing Attorney Tim Miller to intervene in property tax appeal number 2022-03081.001-C-3 for property index number 08-34-477-006 for the year 2022.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
No.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
All right.
I think he read that better than you.
You did great.
Really did.
Really flows.
At least he doesn't enter.
All right, I need,
sorta.
well, this has already been done. I need a motion and a second to go into executive session to discuss employment of personnel, 5 ILCS 120-2C1, and student discipline, 5 ILCS 120-2C9.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
All right.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.